Hello friends and adventurers, today we'll be delving in a new adventure, aka Golden Gate 2, made by the Golden Gate team in December 2025. Yeah, I know, some of you will probably comment, why not do a review and playthrough for Golden Gate 1 before? Well, honestly, Golden Gate 1 completely flew under my radar, and most of the community impressions I've read was that it wasn't that amazing, especially towards the end. It was a bit of a mess. Now, the voice acting in Golden Gate 2 is done professionally in Polish, but developer named One Eye Jax also did an English AI voiceover, and it's pretty decent, at least when it comes to AI.
What are you doing here?
Take my word, you would not understand much of my experiments, even if I were to take whole days to explain them to you. You should have at least basic knowledge of various fields of science.
I'm returning from the shipwrecked coast. The sea has washed up another castaway.
So what?
In fact, it's not Elea.
Well, the castaway's name is Aldrig, and he claims he was the quartermaster on your ship for some time.
What the heck? You want to tell me that you saw a ghost?
The last time I checked, he was still alive.
So, back to the game.
Maurice. Pomóż mi, Maurice.
Gdzie jesteś?
Czekam na ciebie.
Na mnie? Kim jesteś?
Twoją matką.
To niemożliwe. Przecież ona zginęła.
Proszę cię, dziecko. Tylko ty możesz mi pomóc.
Ale jak? Gdzie jesteś?
Pospiesz się.
We play as Morris, a hunter from the island of Samoa. Morris is having some prophetic and cryptic nightmares about a strange woman claiming to be his mother, trying to convince him to get to her. Morris wakes up and we meet Ramsey, a buddy of our protagonist. From this point on, the story will be set as Morris, being a local of this island, everybody knows him, and his tragic past. We start out in the hunter's camp where we get our bearings. First impressions are solid. It has its own soundtrack, some quality of life changes from the Gothic modding community, such as bonuses not counting to your stat minimum threshold, so you can drink those potions as soon as you get them. We get our bearings and our local leader Horn, a grizzled old hunter, tells us we have to prepare for the local hunting festival. We have two jobs here, get some wood and get some booze for the Hunters Festival. This is our main quest so far. Morris isn't too happy since his main goal and motivation is to sail away from here to the nearby continent of Elea. I like this. I like establishing a clear and simple motivation for the character. Get the hell out of Dodge, or in this case Samoa, and get to Elea. Good stuff. We also meet our ex-girlfriend, Olsa. Olsa wants us to escort her to the port, but it rather works the other way around. See, Olsa pretty much handles everything her way. Boars, goblins, bandits, she's a muscle mommy. And our dumb protagonist Morris dumped her. Now, I have my own player motivation. Find out why Morris dumped muscle mommy and fix it. As she's escorting our weakling butt to the port, we get to her hut and find a signpost. These signposts can be used to fast travel to different parts of the island once we've discovered them. Freaking awesome, I love this. It's a simple mechanic not involving teleportation, and it doesn't detract from the experience of exploring the island yourself. Elegant and simple, chef's kiss. We reach the port town and it's really just a town, not a city. We get a small palisade, some huts and buildings, and that's about it. What I find funny is that a lot of the quests revolve around relationship therapy. I kid you not, but in the span of a few episodes, a chunk of the missions are about fixing relationships. We need wood for the festival, so we need the lumberjacks. One of the lumberjacks has been kidnapped by an ogre that has been kicked out by his wife. We need to fix his ogre marriage. We need to ease tensions in the city to get alcohol from the governor. Let's talk about the governor for a moment, since it's important for the story later on. The smartass introduced a new law to confiscate all alcohol in the city. In a fishing town. in a fishing town. For those who aren't aware of that importance, it's like telling an 80s action hero he can look cool, or telling a console gamer he has to use a keyboard. Sheer sacrilege and stupidity. This is beyond prohibition levels of stupidity. So naturally, everybody in the town is upset, and the governor tasks us to lift the spirits of the town, pun intended, and do quests for them. The outcome is, if we satisfy the people's mood, the governor will release the booze to us for the upcoming hunting festival. I'd also like to point out that from this moment onwards, I'll be implementing a score of corruption for the authoritative figures in the game, specifically a valuable, debatable index of competency and Kratos. We'll shorten this to the dick value. The lower the value, the more corrupt and incompetent a leader is. So far, Fisser the governor and his right hand Otmar have a very low dick score. So we get to doing quests for the townspeople now. To do that, we talk to the people and get more relationship quests. We help a broken marriage by convincing a fisherman to quit drinking and get back to his wife. We help a guard that has virility issues and his mast doesn't fly at full sail. We help a family that has issues with debt, and the husband has a cockamamie idea and now he's in prison. I'm honestly curious if one of the developers was having relationship issues with another developer and they wanted to project that in the game as a sort of nudge-nudge, wink-wink scenario. Hey, quit drinking. Hey, stop spending all our money on Warhammer minis. Hey, stop eating all that junk food. We aren't getting any action in bed. Maybe I'm overthinking it. Would be interesting if it was real though. And of course, we help Morris with relationship issues. Olsa has trauma caused by bandits killing her family. So we help her out by trying to lure out the bandits responsible in the open so she can get some catharsis. Blood and steel catharsis, which is the medieval therapy option. We eventually finish up improving the mood of the town and get wood for the festival. We go back to our leader Horn, which is the definition of Grandpa Grumpy Pants, and he tells us to go on another errand for the local water mage called Minas, or Menace, depending on how you want to pronounce it. Here I have a small issue with the story pacing. We spend quite some time doing quests for the lumberjacks and the town, and I thought our payoff was going to be just to jump into the hunting festival. But the pacing is broken here by doing more errands. It's just a small gripe of mine, nothing big. We go to Menes and he treats us as a lab rat by giving us a potion which can enhance our strength, or so he claims. Instead, we get a mind-altering potion that forcibly converts the drinker to be a more devout follower of Adonos, the god of balance and peace. I hate this quest so much, and I also hate the water mage. We don't get a choice to refuse his offer since we're mind control now. Yay, freedom of religion. The gist of it is that we're supposed to give 2 more potions to other unsuspecting victims so Menace can have more reliable data pool. So we become the unwilling prophet, proxy of Menace's conversion therapy. The fun moment begins when Morris tries to convert a lumberjack who's already a religious follower of Sylvan, a forest spirit. The Jack gives Morris a bottle of booze in exchange for his potion of conversion. They both get drunk, and the next day Morris wakes up with a hangover and his mind-altering state is gone. The lumberjack, however, experiences cognitive dissonance and rage and attacks Morris. Seems alcohol restored free will to Morris and freed him from his religious fanaticism. It didn't do the same for the lumberjack though. Alcohol. It turns the fool into a wise man and the wise man into a fool. We go back to Menes and berate him for his stupidity. He actually displays contrition at finding out his potion does more harm than good and gives us an antidote to fix the 2 people we've poisoned with forced alchemical conversion. I'm actually gonna give Menace a generous dick score since he at least admits his mistakes and tries to fix them. 5 out of 10. Now we go back to the hunter's camp and hope to God we can start the damn festival. Nope, we ain't starting it. We get another quest. Seems somebody murdered the camp of woodcutters. These woodcutters aren't the same as the lumberjack camp. These woodcutters are just mercenaries trying to undercut, pun intended, the lumberjacks with a low offer to the governor. The issue is that these mercenaries aren't just the evils of outsourcing. They're felling trees indiscriminately, ruining the forest. And now they're dead. We get a short investigation quest where we play as mini Geralt of Rivia and analyze the crime scene. Seems there's evidence of bandits attacking them and not the beasts of the forest. We go to the local lumberjack camp and their leader Ulrich, who is a sort of father figure to Morris, admits he hired some bandits to scare the woodcutters, but never to kill them. We link up with the bandit contact and try to get an explanation. The bandit admits they went overboard, but he has a plan to pin the slaughter on other bandits. This quickly gets very convoluted, with essentially Morris being given a ring to plant on the crime scene to derail the investigations of the culprits look like bandits. The reason I'm going this route is because Ulrich and the lumberjacks are actually good people. Yes, Ulrich made a mistake and shouldn't have collaborated with bandits. The reason why he wanted to scare the woodcutters off is because they were destroying the forest and the governor was underpaying the lumberjacks for their work. So, minus more points for the dick score of the governor. Ulrich feels terrible about what happened and he'll try to do better next time. For this mod, I've roleplayed Morris as trying to give everybody a second chance, by the way. We close up the investigation with giving the captain of the guard, Valerio, a ring pointing to a bandit attack. We go back to the hunter camp and finally get to start on the hunting festival. Yay, we did it! Now, what follows is a nice relaxing event with remixed music from Gothic 1 and 2 in a campfire atmosphere. The hunting festival is super fun. We get several events we can compete in, from a brawling contest where we can win a ton of gold, to a race and even a drinking contest where Morris has to chug his way to victory. Our muscle mommy Olsa even offers to patch up Morris's wounds and wishes him good luck drinking and fighting. Bless you, muscle mommy. We all need someone like you in our lives. Morris goes to collect his winnings, and lo and behold, he gets 5,000 gold pieces, which is exactly the amount of gold needed to pay for the trip to the mainland. After the festival is over, Morris is nursing a bad hangover and the guards show up. He's accused of conspiring to cover up a murder and he's thrown in prison. Morris isn't alone, for Ulrich is with him. Seems karma visits you fast on Samoa. See, at this point in the game, I wasn't aware of one detail because it was never really explained in-game until later. Ulrich is Morris's stepfather. This is explained on the Golden Gate website. I felt this detail pretty important since it might guide the player's decision whether or not to help Ulrich. So I went with protecting Ulrich before I knew he was related to Morris. Mostly due to Ulrich proving he isn't a bad man, just made a stupid mistake trusting some bandits. We eventually go to trial where we can either A. protect Ulrich and lie to the governor, or we can spill the beans on what happened. In-game, the decision doesn't have much consequence, which I find a bit annoying. If you lie and protect Ulrich, Morris gets a 5,000 gold fine for his involvement. If he tells the truth, the fine is 4,000 gold pieces. So we get released from prison, but Morris is now stuck on the island. Nobody wants to take him on a boat as long as he has a debt to pay for his freedom. Let's talk about the economy for a second. It's really well designed. At this stage in the game, I have roughly 6,000 gold pieces, and the bulk of that was won at the hunting festival. There's multiple money sinks in the game, like potions to buy. Every skill has a gold cost associated with it, and we can also pray to Adonis for extra boosts. So overall we have a tough economy with little gold to get, and a lot of things we can spend it on. Good stuff! On top of that, we can also pray to Hatiret, the former goddess of Samoa, to recharge our runes. Hatiret, the capitalistic blood goddess of Samoa, will be very relevant later on. The story is interesting, a story of deceit, love, murder, and tragedy. Depending on whom you ask, aka the locals, or the water mages, she is either a victim of divine authority or a villain of selfish desires. Whatever the truth may be, Hatiret is a blood goddess and we find evidence of ritual sacrifices in her name. The first evidence we get is the magic system itself. Magic doesn't work like Gothic 1 or 2 or other mods, where we train with a mage and unlock more powerful magic circles and runes. Instead, we find runes everywhere that have similar effects to those in Gothic 2, but with a twist. These runes have limited charges. To recharge them, we need to go at a Hatiret shrine and pay a gold cost to recharge them. This makes a magic build pretty much not viable in the game, at least economically. Morris doesn't become a magician, but he'll use blood magic as a support tool throughout the game. Also, if you increase your mana, you get additional spell damage and extra charges. So that's magic and economy right there. Not sure if I like or hate the magic system. On one hand, there's only one mage on the island, and he refuses to teach magic outside the Order of Adanos, which makes sense. On the other hand, the economy is brutal, so if you want to make a magic build, you're gonna suffer a lot. Just a good armor piece is gonna set you back 3,000 gold pieces. Back to the story. Morris gets another dream of his mother being in prison and calling to him again. I want to remind everyone that Morris's motivation hasn't changed. He wants to sail to Elea. The issue is that there's only one boat in the harbor and the captain is asking for 5,000 gold pieces for passage. The plot fairy states that even if we get 5,000 gold pieces before we get arrested, the captain wants to wait after the hunting festival. And after the hunting festival, even if we have 5,000 gold pieces, he won't take us on because we've committed a crime and we have to pay the fine. And on top of that, even if we do have 10,000 gold pieces, we can't even pay the fine to the governor. We need to wait for a specific plot point for that to happen. Seems very railroady and forced, but alright. Moving on. We go back to the woodcutters and Alric is feeling like crap. He feels like he just robbed Morris of his future and wants to make amends. The next day he goes missing and we ask around where he went. Seems the crazy old man went to the ice mountains of Gereza in the middle of the island. He went there to hunt the fabled silver furs, dangerous animals whose furs are worth their weight in gold on the mainland. Great, off to the ice mountains. We go through a tunnel, fight some bugs, and manage to find the old man alive and well. Here we learn a few details about Morris's past. It's implied at one point when he was young, he was hunting silver furs with his dad and Morris froze up. His dad died and Morris never forgave himself for that, and ever since that point, he was more or less a coward during hunts. Alric is hell-bent on hunting silver furs, even in his old age, and we cannot change his mind. We start hunting silver furs, which are basically Arctic wolves. A cool thing the developers coded was that when Morris comes near them, time slows down for him and his animations become slower and awkward. Nice effect, good job devs. We eventually kill enough wolves and reach a ridge. A huge silver fur shows up and Morris collapses and then freezes up. Alric is left alone to do battle with the dreaded beast. He doesn't last long and Morris witnesses as Alric is cut down. The one man that felt ashamed for what happened to Morris. The one honorable man who wanted to do well by him and set things right. Seeing Alric cut down sets something off in Morris, and he gathers his dread, fear and courage and bundles them in a relentless charge against the beast. He fells the creature and checks on Alric. No icy breath escapes his lips. Alric is gone. Morris makes an impromptu burial mound for Alric and gives his goodbyes. I'm just gonna straight up give Alric a 10 out of 10 dick score right here. No regrets. He went out like a badass. Morris exits the Ice Valley and here he encounters Alric's second in command, a guy called Satyr. Morris gives the tale of what happened and they both journey back to the lumberjack camp. I find it wonderful here that instead of people blaming Morris for what happened, you get a conversation with every member in the camp trying to console Morris and cheer him up. These are good people. This already is influencing my choice for the future of the lumberjack camp and solidifies the idea in my mind that standing up for Alric and committing perjury in court was the right choice. Go Grey Morality. Solid writing there. Eventually Satyr gives us Alric's key and he tells us that he would want us to have what's in his chest. They also offer to make a new armor set for us from the silver furs that killed Alric. I like the symbolism here. The silver fur that felled Alric will now protect Morris in future battles. We open up Alric's chest and boy, We get a handful. We get a letter and a sketch. The letter implies that Ulrich used to be a drunken criminal that came to this island decades ago and fell in love with a woman. The woman is implied to be Morris's mother, and Ulrich actually the real father of Morris, not just his stepdad. This revelation falls on deaf ears since no one we've talked to so far has any response to this. Not even Morris comments on this one. Strange. Anyway, a man suddenly runs into the camp and alerts everybody that the village has been attacked by pirates. The pirates killed the guards and took control of the town. Well, it's not really surprising since the very trailer of Golden Gate 2 has a pirate lord narrating his plans of conquest for Samoa and Elea. Before we go into town, we check on Muscle Mommy to see if she's okay. She's fine, the pirates haven't ventured inland. Yet. Elsa actually offers to take Morris on a picnic trip, and we get into some adventures. See, Elsa is an alchemist, and she prepares some really interesting smokable herbs for Morris and her. Suffice to say, we get high, we talk to a sheep, a talking goblin, and a harpy fortune teller. Normal stuff. Later on, things get intimate to say the least. Happy that Elsa is alright, we venture into the town to see what's up. The gates are guarded by pirates and they demand a huge bag of gold for passage. We kindly refuse and take the cheaper option, just like in Gothic 2. We meet the old veteran soldier of the city, a guy called Sekir. Seems his young wife Felicia recently passed away due to fever and she's haunting his dreams. We upgrade ourselves to ectotherapy and visit her ghost. We talk to her ghost and find out that Sekir disrespected her last wish, which was to be buried near the ruins of Gereza, where her first love was also interred. We get a pretty black and white choice here. Help Sekir for monetary reward and turn over her ashes to him. Or we take Felicia's ashes and bury them near her first love. I'm a softie, so of course I reunite the lovers. Back to the port city. The survivors tells us that the pirates were actually quite clever. They snuck in the cover of darkness on small boats and then opened fire at the last second with a cannon barrage, setting fire to the docks and nearby buildings. Before the guards figured out what was happening, the pirates already took control of half the town. Seems their leader is pretty smart. Shame his underlings aren't so bright. The pirate attack and occupation is interesting by itself. Now, at this point in my playthrough, I have no idea what happens. I managed to avoid spoilers, although I have some suspicions. Here's the thing. The pirates attacked under cover of night, using rowboats to sneak into the harbor. When they were close, they sent a cannon barrage to destroy it. We see this evidence in the town, burn down houses on the seaside. The issue is, after taking control of the town, we meet the leader of the pirates. His name is Captain Emmanuel. He immediately pitches us that his boss, Hannibal, is a pirate lord that is about to conquer the continent of Elea. He says they already rule half the continent and it's a matter of time before they win. I don't buy it. Number one, if they are so confident in their victory, why bother enlisting locals like Morris to do their dirty work? Number two, why bother with Samoa, a small island with no strategic advantage or production? We don't have a gold mine, we don't have an iron mine, no huge farms or agricultural output. Mostly just some drunk fishermen and a few hunters. Number three, why attack with just one ship? If conquest is your goal, then you want to do a display of force to the locals. They attacked under the cover of night to minimize their losses, which tells me they're smart but also want to avoid losing too many men. If you really wanted to conquer Samoa and turn it into a province of your newly born empire, then attack it with overwhelming force, use 3 ships, and disembark with 300 men or so at once. Show the locals a fight is pointless from the get-go and have them submit to the new authority. All these things tell me that the pirates' position is actually very weak from the get-go. Their forces are spread thin and they'll probably get mopped up pretty soon. We also meet a familiar face here. Our old mercenary buddy Gorn from Gothic 1 and 2. He is in with the pirates and I am curious to find out how he got here. Back to the pirate issue. We have 2 choices here. We can A. support the pirates, or B. Go to the dungeon, talk to the local governor, and support the resistance against the pirates. I do appreciate being given a choice here, but I'm gonna go against the pirates. We do some quests for the resistance, and eventually we get to an interesting quest line. We're asked by the resistance and the pirates to locate some ship plans. These plans are for ancient warships called drokars, aka Viking longboats. Seems back in the day, the local populace called the Hessicians had a hobby of organizing raids. The purpose of the raids was to get a steady supply of captives and slaves for blood sacrifices. Their raiding advantage were their longships, sleek and fast vessels. Honestly, I get the sentiment for this quest if Gothic was set in the equivalent of, let's say, 9th century Europe. The issue is, it's lore established that Gothic is in a Renaissance period and we have gunpowder and cannons. In this game setting, longboats might have been the badasses of the sea centuries ago. Unlike Age of Empires 2, cannon galleons do kick Viking longboats easily. So from a logic perspective, this quest doesn't really make sense. Longships can't even support cannons, can they? Hey, if there are any navigation and history buffs out there, what do you think? Could our real-world drokars support a battery of cannons? Probably small ones. But from what I've seen on their design, they had to be retrofitted for that, and I'm not sure how feasible that would actually be. And it would also probably sabotage their speed and maneuverability. Let me know what you think. Back to the quest. We get in touch with the local blacksmith who has a drokar model in a bottle. Through a combination of alcohol, trickery, and theater, we recruit a thief to steal the plans.
Co ten pchlarz powiedział o tyłku mojej żony? Coś ty mi dał za miksturę.
Later on, we explore a couple of tombs Indiana Jones style. We encounter a ghost of the ancient Havildar family. This ghost has the plans we seek. He also mentions that his wife tortured him. Poor dude. Here we have a simple choice. We can A. Give the plans to the pirates, B. Give them to the king via his agents, or C. We can destroy the plans. I opt to destroy them and have the poor ghost find his peace, knowing that the plans will never be used to inflict harm ever again. He also rewards us with some buffs as a result of that. While this causes frustration to our allies, I think it's for the best. Later on, we get the ball really rolling. One of the resistant members contacts us for a secret meeting. Here we meet our old buddy Gorn, and it turns out he's a secret agent for the king of Elea. Gorn infiltrated the pirates hoping to sabotage them. To top everything off, the pirates interrogated the local gravedigger and chopped off his leg. Oh boy. The pirates are definitely going down. Seems the pirates are here not for conquest, but to acquire the legendary dagger heart. It's a mystical artifact central to the Hessician religion. The pirates want this artifact not necessarily for any magical purpose, but for what it represents. A symbol for the pirates and anti-royalists to rally behind. A dagger to strike at the heart of the kingdom of Elea. For context, there's a lot of lore surrounding the Hessicians and their goddess Hatiret. The Hessicians claim she was a demigod, a child of Adonos, while the Eleans argue she was a mortal with great power. Hatiret lost her lover Sarah to the Elean prince and she vowed vengeance. Now what followed was a brutal holy war, which the Hessicians eventually lost and they retreated to Samoa. Here they built their city and villages, and for centuries they had skirmishes and raids against the continent of Elea. As a culture, they were a mix of Viking and Aztec mythology and tropes. They had powerful longboats to raid their enemies. They had regular blood sacrifices as well as sexual rituals. Eventually, they got wiped off by their own greed and religion. Raids for slaves used in ritual killings turned to raids on merchant ships for gold and booty. Blood sacrifices turned into sadistic behavior. We even get evidence of guards abusing their own priestesses or wives torturing their own husbands. One day, the bulk of the Hessician fleet was out raiding, and the Eleans took advantage of this. They invaded Samoa in force, wiped them out, and mopped up whatever was left of the returning longships. Which brings us to present day. The pirate lord Hannibal is warring with Elea and wants the dagger heart of Hatiret to ignite fervor in his followers. We explore the ruins of Hassis and run into another familiar face from Gothic 1, aka the mage Milton. He enlightens us on the Hassisian culture and gives us some more clues on how to breach the temple. We encounter some Hassisian ghosts and undead and have a chat with them. I won't get into the gory details, but suffice to say, 3 of these ghosts were cursed by a priestess for abusing her. We help their souls find rest, and the priestess tells us we gotta find 2 crystals on the island to open the temple. One is in the Deadland, the other is in the bandit camp, which we haven't explored so far. Alright, let me address the bandit camp. The pacing of the game so far has been leading us to a slow crescendo. We get into the Deadlands with Gorn, hook up with Milton and our old buddy Lester, and manage to retrieve one of the crystals we need to open the Hatiret temple. We have a small fight with some undead and a demon lord, cool stuff, and we get our prize, crystal number 1 secured. The other crystal is in the bandit camp, and Gorn provides us with a bandit armor so we can infiltrate them. This is where the pacing suddenly slows to a crawl. During the Deadlands questline, we go through fights against the undead, reminiscing with Gorn about the good old days with the nameless hero, and generally it's a fun experience. If you think we can acquire the crystal from the bandit camp in a few minutes, you'd be so wrong. A short and accurate description of the bandit camp is this. It's a collection of 3 powerful gangs, each vying for who sells the most booze. I've honestly questioned how a camp like this could actually exist in such a small society, but later I got my answer. Seems the de facto boss, a rough warrior named Gorstap, has a special relative, aka Fisser the Governor. They're brothers. Politics and crime never change. We eventually conspire with his overly ambitious wife to remove him from the picture. As morally questionable as that sounds, the alternative is to help Gorstap strike a deal with the pirates, reinforcing their troops with his own. So the moral issue becomes A. Help his wife stage a coup d'etat, or B. Help the pirates and bandits work together. And not much of a choice really. One ambush later, we pick up Gorstap's personal key and get our reward, the second crystal. Now at this point before entering the temple, we prepare. The usual shenanigans. We clear our inventory, brew potions, buy all the buffs, strap on our bandolier of shotgun shells, and get some bubblegum. The ancient dagger of Hatiret lies deep in the temple of Hassis. The dagger presented in legend supposedly having the power to bring a loved one to life. An icon of blood and resistance against the nearby continent of Elea. We open the ancient gates of the temple and we step in. Similar to the Temple of the Sleeper in Gothic 1, this has a lot of puzzles and undead. Most of the puzzles are intuitive and straightforward. We find a locked gate, there's an item or switch nearby to open it. We then enter a large hall with book stands detailing Hatiret's life. Above the stands are mural and below them are switches. We just need to activate the switches corresponding to the murals in the right narrative order to progress. Eventually we find a storeroom and a scroll to transform into an insect. Here we get stomped on a little. We find some items, a journal, a sextant, some wine, and some robes. Gotta be honest here, it took me a minute to figure out what to do with so many items. Seems we need to wear the robes to open a nearby door. Okay. Weird puzzle. The weirdest puzzle in the game and the one that threw me off my rhythm in this temple. A series of other puzzles follow, from jumping puzzles, combat, and we reach the depths of the temple. The final chamber. The dagger is in sight. I tentatively pop a spell before entering the chamber. My dungeoneering instincts kick in and sense an ambush. Nothing happens. As soon as we step in, a ghost reveals herself to us. It's not Hatiret. It's not Morris's mom. It's the ghost of Sarah, Hatiret's lover, depicted in the murals and stories we found earlier. In the legends of the Hassisians, Sarah was murdered by the Prince of Elea and Hatiret swore vengeance. Here we learn the truth about what happened to Hatiret, Sarah, and the dagger. Seems at one point Hatiret acquired a dagger and it had a significant curse attached to it. The dagger kills empathy and encourages a person to become violent and cold-hearted. Sarah saw how Hatiret changed from a loving, caring person to a bloodthirsty maniac and decided to do both of them a favor and end it while she could. Pretty cool plot twist there. So Sarah actually killed Hatiret. Then herself. Someone actually seeing the writing on the wall and doing something about it? Sarah ended Hatiret and then they were both buried deep within this temple. She stood guard in her spiritual form, preventing anyone from acquiring the dagger and causing a ruckus all over again. This point of the game made me go, she actually has a point. If this dagger is cursed and can cause only evil and pain, why are we, a regular chap, taking it out of this pretty well-protected temple? The sad part is, once you exhaust dialogue with Sarah, whatever option you pick, it leads to a fight. The fight is linear and mandatory. The fight itself isn't bad, but it's not something I haven't seen before. We do some damage, she summons some ghosts to back her up, we do that dance about 3 times, and Sarah is done. I kind of feel bad for fighting her. All she did was trying to prevent evils from spreading into the world. Are we the baddies? Really here, seems we're on the losing side. We get out of the temple and my gut feeling was correct. A crimson sky awaits us and we spot Gorn and a few guards that are battling skeletons. Seems by taking the dagger, we unleashed a plague upon the island, turning people into zombies. Whoops. We hook up with Gorn and the guards and make our way back to the city. The situation is pretty bleak. We lose some guards on the way, they turn into zombies, and the entire map is filled with undead, demons, and specters hunting for the dagger. Most of what's left of the town has turned into zombies. We manage to find the survivors holed up in the city hall square, and things are desperate. Milton is there. We report to him that we didn't have a choice in the matter, but we do have the dagger heart. I do wonder if Morris feels guilty about the whole situation, since Sarah did warn him not to take the dagger. On the other hand, there was no diplomatic way to resolve the situation. We have a short rest and then check on the resident alchemist, Ashton, who is sporting a peg leg now. Seems the pirates kidnapped him to make a cure for the zombie plague. We deal with his captors and have one final boss fight with Emmanuel, the pirate captain. We deal with him and end the pirate threat. Ashton is in awe that Morris is carrying the dagger. He even points out that despite being a Scythian descendant himself, the dagger exudes an evil aura and makes him question his own beliefs. Towards the end, he brews up a few potions to cure the plague, but we only get 5 doses since the plants he needed are all gone. Tracking back to Milton, he is hopeful somebody from the mainland will see the signals fired up and rescue is coming soon. In the courtyard, we are presented with the toughest choice of the game so far. We encounter Olsa, Morris's girlfriend, and Ramsey, his childhood buddy. They've both been bitten by zombies, and there's only one antidote dose left. You know what this means? What follows is both sides presenting their case and giving very good arguments. None of them want to die. Damn, this really is the most difficult choice in the game. What would you do? We spend the game romancing Olsa, but also doing quests with Ramsey, who has dreams of becoming a dragon hunter. Once we make the choice, an alert is sound, and a huge galleon docks in the harbor. Rescued at last. There's so few survivors on the map that they can easily fit on the ship. The boat is actually captained by Greg, a pirate captain we encountered back in Gothic 2. Seems Greg found a lucrative deal with the king of Elea and has his own scores to settle with Hannibal, the pirate lord. We board the boat and... the end? The end fell so abruptly. I have questions. Who is the mysterious thief that aided us in the temple? She is suggested to work for somebody. Maybe she's even a Scythian descendant. What's going on with the curse? Why spend so much time in the bandit camp if the zombie curse is gonna wipe them all out? Where is Diego and all this, or the nameless hero? What's with all the dreams Morris has? Is it Hatiret sending the dreams, or Beliar, the god of darkness? What happened to Ulsa's uncle? Why can't the only water mage on the island heal the people suffering from zombie bites? I'm gonna chalk up this mod as a win for Beliar, the god of darkness. Most of the people on Samoa are dead. Morris has a cursed dagger, he lost his best friend, he lost Ulrich, who is suggested to be his dad, and he lost other friends and companions along the way. So that's Golden Gate 2. Overall, it was a fun game, but it did have a couple of issues, mostly related to the story pacing. The game ramps up to opening to the Temple of Hatiret, we're halfway there and suddenly have to break the entire crescendo by wasting time in the bandit camp, which are gonna be wiped out anyway. The bandits are also invincible, so we can't just kick their ass to get a crystal. The other issue I had is mostly related to Morris not having a reaction to certain events. Like, he finds out Ulrich might be his real father, that's the implication of the journal we find in his chest, and nothing. Or maybe I misinterpreted this one. We also don't get to confront Fisser being corrupt and Valerio the city guard as well. We find out way too late that Fisser is the brother of the leader of the bandit camp, and that leads to nowhere. No chance to exact justice for the fake trial that they had for Ulrich and Morris. The game kind of lets the player wanting more and abruptly ends on sequel bait. But it also did many things exceptionally well. Mechanically speaking, the game is solid. We have good quality of life things like in Arcalos. You can consume bonus stat potions that do not count to your learning point threshold. We have fast travel via signposts, and the economy is brutal but fair. The magic system relies on recharging runes via spending gold, and while I initially was turned off by that, by the end of the game, I found so many runes that I still had spell charges. I also like that the island is small and you keep running the same characters over and over again. You eventually get attached to Olza, to Ramsey, the woodcutters, even some people in the town. But I am not a fan of the kill everybody off approach towards the end. I mean, I get zombifying the town, sure, but why everybody? You have players getting invested into the story and characters, which is what you want as a writer, and then you pull off a George R.R. Martin and kill off everybody suddenly. It really sucks. If we ever get a Golden Gate free, please developers, don't kill everybody off. As for the music, it's good. It has its own custom soundtrack and has some tracks that are really fun to hear. This mod was roughly 10 years in the making, but you can tell it had passion. One of the best moments was exploring the Easter Egg Island. You had a lot of insider snippets on how the mod was made, what the writers felt, and you can tell they really put their heart and soul into this one. I named him Bugwald. I spawned Bugwald a moment before. He appeared without a head and started to chase the player, screaming, Dia _Bugwald _help me _0001. I don't recall adding such a line of dialogue. May it be the engine co-creating this mod with me. Is it even possible? Once there was a creator with his passion inflamed. A gifted draftsman soon joined his game. They wished to send just a few knights on a quest when other modders gathered by fervor possessed. He summoned paladins to Jarkandar's mystery and pirates of souls both savage and eerie. The paladins fought Beliar's vile spawn, yet the Golden Gate must be won at dawn. I guess my major gripe at the end is the game itself is sequel bait. None of the major plot points actually get resolved. Morris still doesn't know from where his strange visions come from, there's no resolution towards losing Ulrich, no discussion between Morris and other people about the implication of Ulrich being his real dad. and no way to confront the governor about Gorstad being his brother. That means that the governor knew that Morris and Ulrich were innocent when accused of conspiring with the bandits to kill the woodcutters. And yet, the governor had no issues in throwing Morris in jail and having the gall to ask him and Ulrich to pay 5,000 gold pieces each for their freedom. Hell, if that fine didn't happen, Ulrich might have still been alive. Despite its warts and all, I actually like Golden Gate 2 a lot. It sucked me in, had a compelling story, and overall was one of the best Gothic mods I've played. I'm just unhappy that it was designed to be bait for a sequel that might never happen. I'm not a fan of open-ended stories that are meant to be a platform for another season or another game. I'm not saying that all plot lines need to be neatly tied up, and you gotta close the book on everything, but give me some resolution, damn it. Make me feel like the story wasn't for nothing. Don't make me wait another 10 years for a sequel that might never happen. There's a bunch of other offers I will lump in with that sentence. Looking at you, Patrick and Martin. In any case, here's a list of mechanics in Golden Gate 2 so you get an idea of what to expect. This has been Golden Gate 2. Solid mod, fun, but weak in the resolution department. Guess we'll see each other in 10 years if they ever finish the final part so we can get some closure. What do you guys think? Is Golden Gate 2 worth the time, or it being designed as bait for Golden Gate 3 kneecapped story? Let me know in the comments. Thank you, friends and adventurers, and as always, remember, the most important story in the world is our own. Till next we meet, cheers and stay badass.
O swoim szczęściu śpiewałam do gwiazd, lecz już nadszedł kres naszej miłości. Któż gwiazdom zaśpiewa, gdy nie ma już nas? Któż gwiazdom zaśpiewa? Biegłam szlakiem swoich snów, lecz los nas rozdzielił, gubiąc cały trud. Tęsknotą tyś swoją sprowadziła znów, chwytając moją dłoń zza śmierci czarnych wrót. Schwyta nasz kwar